The massive tentacles of the Beast of Zarthos curl in submission before Ricky burns, a human Deathworlder. Chaos erupts in the Galactic Council chamber as alien diplomats gape at the unprecedented scene. Ricky stands unflinching, his weathered face betraying no emotion as the beast's enormous form towers over him. The creature, known for its uncontrollable rage and the destruction of entire star systems, responds to his subtle hand gestures with eerie obedience. Zara, a female pack-led diplomat, fumbles her datapad. It clatters to the polished floor, the sound echoing through the stunned silence. The pack leads, technologically inept and easily impressed, stare wide-eyed at the display of human dominance. The chamber's advanced security systems hum ineffectively. Force fields flicker, and robotic sentries stand down, their programming useless against a threat that refuses to attack. The beast's eyes, each the size of a human torso, remain fixed on Ricky's stoic form. Council members frantically confer in hushed tones. Their previous dismissal of humans as primitive creatures, unworthy of full galactic citizenship, now seems a grave miscalculation. The delicate power balance within the Galactic Council teeters on the edge of upheaval. Ricky's presence is no accident. He stands at the center of a tense negotiation for humanity's full membership, long denied due to Earth's classification as a death world. The human's commanding presence and the beast's obedience hint at hidden capabilities that could dramatically alter the course of galactic politics. Murmurs of fear and awe spread through the chamber. The Zarthosian ambassador, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulses with agitation. The hive mind of Omega Centauri buzzes in confused deliberation, its countless drones struggling to process the implications of this event. The beast shifts its massive bulk, tentacles writhing across the chamber floor. Council members flinch, but Ricky remains steady. With a flick of his wrist, he directs the creature to settle, demonstrating a level of control that defies explanation. As the reality of the situation sinks in, the Council faces a stark choice. Humanity now stands revealed as both a potential powerful ally and a formidable threat to the established galactic order. The consequences of this moment will ripple across the cosmos, reshaping interspecies relations and the future of the galaxy itself. Ricky Burns, grizzled veteran of Earth's interstellar conflicts, has single-handedly upended decades of galactic policy. As he stands before the Galactic Council, the Beast of Zarthos at his command, one thing becomes crystal clear: humanity's place in the universe will never be the same again. The tension in the chamber reached a fever pitch as Ricky Burns stood firm, the Beast of Zarthos still submissive at his feet. The alien diplomat's shocked murmurs crescendoed into a cacophony of raised voices and frantic gesticulations. Suddenly, a thunderous voice cut through the chaos. "Silence!" High Counselor Zaxthor, a towering figure with azure skin and piercing silver eyes, rose from his seat. "I call for an immediate emergency session. Clear the chamber of all non-essential personnel." Security droids herded the lesser diplomats and aides out of the room, their protests fading as the massive doors sealed shut with a pneumatic hiss. Ricky remained at the center, surrounded by the highest-ranking representatives of each species. Zaxthor's gaze bore into Ricky. "Human, explain this unprecedented display. How is it possible for a Deathworlder to control the Beast of Zarthos?" Ricky's weathered face remained impassive as he spoke, his voice steady and clear. "High Counselor, esteemed members of the Council, what you've witnessed today is the result of decades of secret research conducted by humanity. We've been studying and communicating with various dangerous species across the galaxy, including the Beast of Zarthos." A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. The Zarthosian ambassador's crystalline form pulsed with rapid flashes of deep crimson, a clear sign of agitation. General Kraz, the Draconi representative, leapt to his feet, scales filled. "This is an outrage. Humans have been meddling in affairs far beyond their station. I demand immediate sanctions against Earth." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly, but Ricky remained unperturbed. With a subtle gesture, he commanded the beast to rise. The creature's massive form uncoiled, tentacles stretching towards the vaulted ceiling. Council members instinctively recoiled, but their fear turned to awe as the beast began a series of complex movements, each perfectly synchronized with Ricky's subtle hand motions. The beast weaved its tentacles into intricate patterns, demonstrating not just raw power, but also precision and control. It lifted Ricky gently, placing him atop its bulbous head, then lowered him back to the ground with utmost care. As the display concluded, Ricky produced a small, glowing data crystal from his pocket. Esteemed Council, humanity comes not as a threat, but as a potential ally. This crystal contains information on our advancements in xenobiology, including potential cures for several pan-galactic diseases that have long plagued your species. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Zaxthor's eyes narrowed, his mind racing with the possibilities. This is unexpected, Mr. Burns. Your offer is indeed intriguing, but the ramifications of your actions are... A shrill alarm cut through the air, interrupting the High Counselor. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a massive fleet of ominous biomechanical ships. Harvesters, Zaxthor breathed, his usual composure slipping. A full invasion force at the edge of Council space. Panic erupted among the Council members. The hive mind of Omega Centauri buzzed frantically, its drones scurrying in chaotic patterns. The pack-led representatives huddled together, whimpering in fear. Ricky's voice cut through the pandemonium. High Counselor, I have a proposal. All eyes turned to the human. Let me lead a joint Human Council task force against the Harvesters. We'll use Earth's unconventional tactics and our connection with dangerous species as a secret weapon. The chamber erupted into arguments. Some council members saw hope in Ricky's offer, while others viewed it as a human ploy for power. As the debate raged, the beast of Zarthos suddenly reared up, its tentacles lashing out wildly. Ricky gritted his teeth, struggling to maintain control. The beast's eyes, once docile, now blazed with an otherworldly fury. It sensed the approaching harvester threat, even from this vast distance. Burns! Zaxthor shouted over the commotion. Control that creature! Sweat beaded on Ricky's brow as he focused all his will on subduing the beast. Slowly, agonizingly, the creature's movements became less erratic. Its tentacles drooped and its eyes dimmed, but an underlying tension remained in its massive form. As Ricky regained control, the council members watched in a mix of fear and amazement. The precarious nature of humanity's power over such dangerous beings was now evident to all. Zaxthor's voice cut through the tense silence. We face an unprecedented threat, and we're presented with an unprecedented offer of aid. The council must now decide, do we trust the humans and their dangerous allies, or do we face the harvesters alone? The chamber buzzed with urgent whispers, as species that had been enemies for millennia now found themselves forced to consider an alliance with the enigmatic humans. The fate of countless worlds hung in the balance as the Galactic Council prepared to make a decision that would reshape the future of the entire galaxy. Ricky Burns stood at the eye of this storm, the beast of Zarthos restless beside him, awaiting the Council's verdict in the battle that loomed on the horizon. The tense atmosphere in the council chamber shattered as alarms blared throughout the station. The beast of Zarthos, its otherworldly senses detecting the approaching harvester threat, suddenly thrashed violently. Ricky's face contorted with effort as he struggled to maintain his mental link with the creature, but it was too late. With a deafening roar, the beast broke free from Ricky's control. Its massive tentacles whipped through the air, smashing into the ornate furnishings and delicate equipment that adorned the chamber. Council members scattered in panic, their previous awe replaced by terror as they fled the rampaging creature. Evacuate immediately, Zaxthor shouted, his commanding voice barely audible over the chaos. Ricky's mind raced as he assessed the situation. Drawing on years of experience dealing with dangerous alien life forms, he sprang into action. He darted between the beast's thrashing limbs, narrowly avoiding being crushed as he searched for an opening. Burns, what are you doing? General Kraz yelled as he ushered the last of the council members out of the chamber. Buying you time, Ricky shouted back, his eyes never leaving the beast. As the creature reared up, Ricky saw his chance. He lunged forward, his hand finding a specific spot on the beast's underbelly. With practiced precision, he applied pressure to a nerve cluster, sending a jolt through the creature's nervous system. The beast let out a shriek of surprise and pain, its movements becoming sluggish. Ricky repeated the process, targeting different nerve clusters until the creature swayed unsteadily. "Now, seal the chamber!" Ricky called out. The massive doors slid shut with a resounding thud, leaving Ricky alone with the stunned but still dangerous beast of Zarthos. Outside the chamber, the council regrouped in the station's command center. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing the Harvester fleet entering the system. Their biomechanical ships, resembling grotesque insectoid creatures, filled the view screens. "By the cosmic void," Zaxthor breathed, his silver eyes wide with disbelief. General Kraz barked orders into his communicator, mobilizing the Council's military forces. "All ships, battle stations, prepare for immediate engagement." As the Council's fleet scrambled to mount a defense, it became painfully clear that they were outmatched. The Harvester ships vastly outnumbered them, their weapons tearing through the defenders' shields with ease. Inside the sealed council chamber, Ricky paced warily around the slowly recovering beast. His mind raced, formulating a plan. He activated his comlink. "Council, this is Burns. I have a proposal, but you're not going to like it." Zaxthor's voice crackled through the speaker. "We're out of options, human. What do you suggest?" "We use the beast as a weapon against the Harvesters," Ricky said, his eyes never leaving the creature. "Its destructive power could even the odds." A moment of stunned silence followed. Then General Kraz's gruff voice came through. "You're insane, Burns. How do you propose to control that monster, let alone direct it against the enemy?" "I'll need help," Ricky admitted. "Your chief engineer, the Xylonian, Zeb. He can rig up a way to transport the beast. And I'll need a team for the insertion." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Finally, Zaxthor spoke. "Very well, Burns. We have no choice but to trust you. Make it happen." The next few hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Zeb, a lanky Xylonian with 4 arms and bioluminescent skin, worked tirelessly to modify a cargo shuttle. His genius for engineering showed as he integrated a stasis field generator into the craft's systems. "This should contain the beast's fury," Zeb explained, his voice a melodious trill. "But I cannot guarantee for how long." Ricky nodded grimly. "It'll have to do." As the Harvester ships breached the station's outer defenses, Ricky led his makeshift team to the modified shuttle. Zeb took the controls, while a squad of Draconi warriors, their scaled skin gleaming under the harsh lights, secured themselves in the hold. With a final nod to the council members watching from the command center, Ricky sealed the shuttle's airlock. The beast, now contained within the shimmering stasis field, filled most of the cargo bay. "Launch!" Ricky commanded. The shuttle shot out of the station's docking bay, immediately engulfed in the chaos of the space battle. Energy beams and plasma bolts crisscrossed the void, while explosions bloomed silently in the vacuum. Zeb's 4 hands danced across the controls, weaving the shuttle through the debris and crossfire. They approached the massive Harvester flagship, its biomechanical form dwarfing their small craft. Suddenly, alarms blared within the shuttle. The stasis field flickered, and the beast began to stir. "The field's failing!" Zeb cried out, his luminescent skin pulsing with agitation. Ricky gritted his teeth and approached the awakening beast. He placed his hands on its writhing form, focusing all his concentration on re-establishing their mental link. "Easy, big fella," he murmured, sweat beading on his forehead. "Not yet. Soon." The beast's movement slowed, but Ricky could feel its rage building, awe-inspiring. "Brace for impact," Zeb shouted as he aimed for one of the Harvester ship's docking bays. The shuttle crashed through the organic membrane covering the bay entrance, skidding to a stop in a tangle of alien technology and viscous fluids. As the team regained their bearings, the shuttle's hull creaked ominously. "Move out!" Ricky ordered. "We need to find the central chamber before this thing falls apart." The Draconi warriors took point, their advanced weapons at the ready. They fought their way through winding, pulsating corridors, facing waves of insectoid Harvester drones. The air was thick with the acrid smell of alien blood and the ozone tang of energy weapons. As they approached the ship's core, the resistance intensified. The team was forced to take cover behind pulsating organic growths as swarms of drones attacked relentlessly. "We're pinned down!" the Draconi squad leader shouted over the din of battle. Ricky glanced back at the shuttle, where the beast was becoming increasingly agitated. He knew they were running out of time. "Cover me!" he yelled, then sprinted towards a large, sphincter-like door that seemed to lead deeper into the ship. As he ran, Ricky felt a strange resonance in his mind. The ship itself seemed to be alive, and at its heart, he sensed a powerful, malevolent presence. The Harvester Queen. Ricky reached the door, his hands searching for a way to open it. As he touched the organic surface, it recoiled, then slowly began to part. The team rushed through, finding themselves in a vast cathedral-like chamber. At the center, fused with the ship's systems, was the Harvester Queen. Her massive, grotesque form pulsed with malevolent energy, multiple eyes swiveling to focus on the intruders. Ricky's blood ran cold as he realized the true scale of the threat they faced. The Queen wasn't just controlling this ship, she was directing the entire invasion fleet. "Change of plans," Ricky said, his voice steady despite the fear gripping his heart. "We're taking out the Queen." He turned back towards the shuttle, where the beast of Zarthos strained against its failing containment. Ricky knew what he had to do, but the risk was enormous. Establishing a deeper mental link with the beast could destroy his mind. As harvester drones began to pour into the chamber, Ricky made his choice. He locked eyes with the beast and opened his mind fully to the creature's alien consciousness. The sensation was overwhelming. Ricky felt as if he were drowning in an ocean of primal rage and unfathomable power. Through sheer force of will, he clung to his sense of self, directing the beast's fury towards the Harvester Queen. "Now!" Ricky roared, his voice blending with the beast's otherworldly shriek. The stasis field collapsed, and the beast of Zarthos erupted from the shuttle. Its tentacles lashed out, tearing into the Queen's bloated form. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring as the two monstrous entities clashed in a battle that threatened to tear the vessel apart. Ricky fell to his knees, blood trickling from his nose as he struggled to maintain the mental link and direct the beast's attacks. Around him, Zeb and the Draconi warriors fought desperately against the swarming harvester drones, their weapons flashing in the chaos. As the titanic struggle raged on, the fate of the Galactic Council, humanity, and countless other species hung in the balance. The beast's tentacles ripped through the Queen's defenses, drawing closer to her vital organs. But the harvester forces were endless, and Ricky's team was quickly being overwhelmed. In this moment of crisis, with victory and annihilation both within reach, Ricky pushed his mental link with the beast to its absolute limit. The chamber filled with an otherworldly roar as the final confrontation between these cosmic forces reached its crescendo. Climax. The beast's tentacles wrapped around the Queen's central mass, squeezing with otherworldly strength. But even as the Queen's carapace began to crack, Ricky felt a chilling realization wash over him. "It's not enough," he gasped, blood trickling from his nose. "We need to take out the whole fleet." Zeb's luminescent skin pulsed with understanding. "The power core. If we overload it, we might trigger a chain reaction." Ricky nodded, his vision blurring from the strain of maintaining the mental link. "Go! Find the core and disable it. I'll keep the Queen occupied." The Xylonian engineer and the Draconi warriors pushed through the writhing mass of harvester drones, disappearing into the ship's pulsating corridors. Ricky turned his full attention back to the titanic struggle before him, channeling every ounce of his will into the beast's assault. The chamber shuddered as the beast and Queen traded blows, organic walls buckling under the force of their combat. Ricky felt every impact, every wound inflicted on the beast, as if it were his own body. His ears rang, and the taste of copper filled his mouth. Suddenly, the Queen's bloated form shifted, tendrils of biomechanical technology detaching from the ship's systems. Ricky's eyes widened in horror as he realized her intent. "She's trying to escape," he shouted, his voice hoarse and strained. With a supreme effort, Ricky pushed his mental link to its absolute limit. The world around him faded, replaced by a whirlwind of alien thoughts and primal instincts. He felt his consciousness merging with the beast's, their separate identities blurring into a single hybrid entity. The Ricky Beast fusion roared, a sound that shook the very foundations of the ship. They launched themselves at the retreating queen, tentacles lashing out with renewed fury. The queen's escape was halted as the hybrid entity forced her back into the ship's neural network. Meanwhile, Zeb and the Draconi fought their way through waves of increasingly desperate harvester drones. They found the power core, a massive pulsating organ that seemed to breathe with malevolent life. Zeb's 4 hands moved in a blur as he worked to overload the core's systems. "We don't have much time," he trilled to the Draconi warriors. "Once this starts, we'll have minutes at most to escape." Back in the central chamber, the Ricky Beast hybrid grappled with the queen, their massive forms intertwined in a deadly dance. The ship groaned and creaked around them, systems failing as Zeb's sabotage took effect. The hybrid entity felt a moment of human doubt, Ricky's consciousness recognizing the danger of their situation. But the beast's influence was too strong, driving them forward with single-minded purpose. Zeb's voice crackled over the comm system. "Burns! We've overloaded the core. We need to evacuate now." But the hybrid couldn't respond. They were locked in combat with the queen, slowly but surely gaining the upper hand. As the ship began to break apart around them, the Ricky Beast fusion realized the terrible truth. To ensure the queen's destruction, they would have to go down with the ship. Zeb and the surviving Draconi warriors rushed back towards the entrance, dodging falling debris and erupting conduits. The Xylonian engineer paused at the threshold, looking back for any sign of Ricky. "Burns, we must leave," Zeb called out one last time before the collapsing corridors forced him to retreat. In the heart of the dying ship, the hybrid entity continued its relentless assault on the Harvester Queen. The beast's rage and Ricky's commitment fueled each other, creating a juggernaut of destruction that the Queen couldn't hope to match. As the power core reached critical levels, a massive electromagnetic pulse radiated outward from the flagship. The pulse washed over the Harvester fleet, disabling their biomechanical systems and leaving them defenseless. The Galactic Council's forces, which had been on the verge of annihilation, suddenly found themselves facing an inert enemy. Ships that had been dealing death mere moments ago now drifted lifelessly in the void of space. Inside the flagship, the Ricky Beast hybrid delivered a final devastating blow to the Harvester Queen. Her form shuddered and collapsed, the light fading from her multitude of eyes. But there was no time for triumph. The ship's structure was failing catastrophically, entire sections vaporizing in a chain reaction of explosions. The hybrid entity felt the heat of the explosions, the vacuum of space tugging at them as the ship's hull breached. Ricky's human consciousness struggled against their inevitable fate, but the beast's influence was too strong. They had accomplished their mission. The Harvester threat was neutralized. As the flagship's reactor went critical, the resulting explosion consumed the hybrid entity, the remains of the Harvester Queen, and any hope of reviving the invasion. The blast expanded outward, engulfing the disabled Harvester ships and clearing a vast swath of space. When the light faded and the debris settled, the Galactic Council found itself in an unprecedented position. The seemingly unstoppable Harvester invasion had been halted, but at what cost? As the surviving ships regrouped and damage reports flooded in, questions began to arise. What had happened aboard the Harvester flagship? Where was Ricky Burns? And most importantly, how had a lone human managed to turn the tide of a battle that the combined might of the Galactic Council had been losing? As the Council's leaders convened to discuss these questions and plan their next moves, they couldn't help but feel that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The human race, once dismissed as primitive and insignificant, had proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with. The victory celebration was tempered by uncertainty. The Harvesters had been defeated, but the political landscape of the galaxy had been irrevocably altered. As the Council ships began the long process of cleanup and recovery, the ripples of this battle spread outward, destined to reshape the future of countless worlds. As the debris from the Harvester flagship settled, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. The Galactic Council ships, moments ago locked in desperate combat, now drifted amidst the lifeless husks of their former enemies. Aboard the Council's central command station, A tense quiet gripped the war room. High Counselor Zaxthor, his tentacles twitching with nervous energy, leaned forward to study the tactical display. "Confirm status of the Harvester fleet," he ordered, his voice barely above a whisper. A young Zalonian analyst, her bioluminescent skin pulsing rapidly, responded, "All Harvester ships show no signs of activity, High Counselor. The electromagnetic pulse appears to have completely disabled their systems." As the reality of their unexpected victory sank in, a wave of jubilation swept through the station. Cheers erupted from every deck, every corridor. Beings of all species embraced, their differences forgotten in the shared joy of survival. But the celebration was short-lived. Zeb and the surviving Dracony warriors arrived at the station, their shuttle scarred and battered from the battle. As they disembarked, the absence of Ricky Burns was painfully apparent. General Kraz, his scales dulled with fatigue and grief, approached High Counselor Zaxthor. "High Counselor, I regret to inform you that Ricky Burns, he didn't make it out. He sacrificed himself to ensure our victory." The news spread quickly, casting a somber pall over the station. The council chambers, so recently filled with cheers, now echoed with hushed conversations and mournful keens. High Counselor Zaxthor called an emergency session of the council. As representatives from each member species filed in, the weight of recent events hung heavy in the air. "Fellow council members," Zaxthor began, his voice solemn, "we have achieved a victory that mere hours ago seemed impossible. But this triumph has come at a great cost. The human, Ricky Burns, gave his life to save us all." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A Draconi representative stood, his voice filled with newfound respect. "The humans have proven themselves to be far more than we ever imagined. We owe them a debt that can never be repaid." Zaxthor nodded in agreement. "Indeed, which is why I propose we establish a joint Human Council task force. This group will be dedicated to studying and controlling potentially destructive entities, leveraging the unique abilities that humans have demonstrated." The proposal sparked heated debate. Some council members enthusiastically supported the idea, while others expressed concern about giving humans too much influence. As the council deliberated, news of the victory against the Harvesters reached Earth. In the halls of power in Washington, D.C., President Marcus Steele received the report with a mixture of pride and sorrow. "Ricky Burns," Steele mused, staring out the Oval Office window. "A true hero." He turned to his assembled advisors. "This is our moment. Humanity has proven its worth to the galaxy. We need to seize this opportunity." Within hours, plans were underway for a diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council. Earth's finest minds in science, military strategy, and diplomacy were assembled, each chosen to represent humanity's strengths and potential contributions to the galactic community. Back at the Council station, as preparations for the human delegation's arrival were underway, an alert blared through the command center. A Medusan communications officer, her serpentine hair writhing with excitement, called out, "High Counselor, we're detecting a distress signal from Sector 9 Gamma." Zaxthor hurried to the communications array. "What's the source?" The officer's eyes widened in disbelief. It's a mixture of human and beast of Zarthos biosignatures. Sir, it's possible that Ricky Burns survived." The news sent shockwaves through the station. Council members argued fiercely about how to proceed. Some saw it as a chance to recover a valuable asset, while others feared it could be a trap. General Kraz, his voice cutting through the chaos, declared, "I will lead a rescue mission. The humans fought bravely for us. We owe them this much." As the rescue mission was hastily assembled, strange reports began flooding in from across Council space. On a dozen worlds, creatures once thought to be uncontrollable were suddenly exhibiting docile behavior. Scientists scrambled to understand the phenomenon, with some theorizing a connection to Ricky's fusion with the beast of Zarthos. On Earth, deep in a classified military installation, alarms blared as sensors detected massive movements in the planet's deepest ocean trenches. Admiral Chen, head of Earth's naval forces, watched in awe as footage showed colossal, unknown creatures rising from the depths. "My God," Chen breathed. "They're not attacking. They're waiting." As the rescue mission prepared to depart, tensions among the council races reached a fever pitch. Some saw Ricky's potential recovery as a chance to study and perhaps replicate human abilities. Others feared it could upset the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Unaware of these developments, the human diplomatic mission continued its journey to the council station. Their ship, the UES Unity, carried the hopes and aspirations of all humanity. On the bridge of the rescue vessel, General Kraz surveyed his mixed crew of humans and council races. Each being represented the best their species had to offer, united in a common purpose. "Set course for Sector 9 Gamma," Kraz ordered, his voice filled with perseverance. "Let's bring Ricky Burns home." As the rescue ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, none aboard could predict the challenges that lay ahead. The fate of Ricky Burns, the future of human-council relations, and perhaps the very nature of life in the galaxy hung in the balance. The mission ventured into the unknown, carrying with it the potential to reshape the cosmos itself. The rescue ship sliced through the void, its engines straining as it approached the coordinates of Ricky Burns' distress signal. General Kraz stood on the bridge, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the starfield before them. "We're entering Sector 9 Gamma now, sir," reported the Medusan navigator, her serpentine hair writhing with concentration. Kraz nodded, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. "Slow to 1/4 speed. Activate all sensors and scan for—" His words were cut short as the ship suddenly lurched, alarms blaring throughout the vessel. The view screen filled with a whirling mass of debris, the remnants of the destroyed Harvester flagship. "Evasive maneuvers!" Kraz barked, gripping the arms of his command chair. The pilot's fingers danced across the controls, but the ship continued to be pulled towards the center of the debris field. As they drew closer, Kraz's eyes widened in disbelief. The fragments of metal and organic matter were coalescing, forming a massive, swirling vortex. "Sir," called out the sensor officer, her bioluminescent skin pulsing rapidly, "we're detecting an energy signature at the center of the vortex. It matches the combined biosignatures of Ricky Burns and the Beast of Zarthos." Kraz leaned forward, his mind racing. "Deploy the specialized probes. We need more information." As the probes launched, the ship's systems began to falter. Consoles flickered, and the engines sputtered. "Unknown radiation detected," reported the science officer, her antennae twitching nervously. "It's interfering with our systems." The data from the probes began to stream in, revealing a network of energy tendrils holding the debris together. Kraz studied the readings, his expression grave. "It's like the beast's tentacles, but on an unimaginable scale. And look, there are traces of human and beast DNA throughout the structure." Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Kraz was nearly thrown from his seat as the vessel was enveloped by the swirling debris. "Hull integrity compromised," shouted the engineering officer. "We're being pulled in." Kraz's mind raced through their options. There was only one choice. "Activate the phase shift drive." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. The experimental drive, based on Xylonian technology, had never been tested in the field. "Do it now," Kraz ordered. The engineer hesitated for a moment before engaging the drive. The ship vibrated, and for a brief moment, reality seemed to flicker around them. When it stabilized, they found themselves still within the vortex, but unaffected by its pull. "We're out of phase with normal space-time," the science officer reported, her voice filled with awe. "We can observe without being affected." The view screen came to life with a kaleidoscope of images. Fragmented memories of Ricky Burns intertwined with alien vistas that could only belong to the Beast of Zarthos. Kraz watched, transfixed, as he realized they were witnessing the internal struggle of the hybrid entity. "It's fighting to maintain cohesion," Kraz murmured. "We need to establish communication." As the crew worked to recalibrate their communication systems, a priority message came through from Earth. Kraz's second-in-command, a human named Lieutenant Sarah Chen, read the report with growing concern. "Sir, there's a situation developing on Earth," she said. "The creatures in the ocean depths have become active, forming some kind of bioelectrical network. The energy signature matches what we're seeing here." Kraz's brow furrowed. "It can't be a coincidence. Whatever's happening to Ricky and the Beast, it's having a ripple effect across the galaxy. The ship's phase shift began to destabilize, forcing them to return to normal space-time. As they did, the pull of the vortex intensified. "Deploy the modified communication buoys," Kraz ordered. "We need to make contact before we're forced to retreat." The buoys launched, their hardened shells allowing them to withstand the intense radiation and energy fluctuations. For several tense moments, there was nothing but static. Then a fragmented voice crackled through the speakers. "Kraz, danger. Not just us, galaxy, threat." The general leaned forward, straining to understand. "Ricky, is that you?" "Not Ricky, not Beast. Both. Neither." The voice was distorted, shifting between human tones and an otherworldly growl. "Awakened, ancient, enemy, voidwalkers." Before Kraz could ask for clarification, the ship's long-range sensors blared a warning. A massive energy surge appeared at the edge of the galaxy, its pattern unlike anything in their databases. The science officer's voice trembled as she reported, "Sir, the energy signature matches ancient records of a species known as the Voidwalkers. They're said to be capable of manipulating space-time itself." Kraz's mind raced, processing the implications. The rescue mission had uncovered a threat far greater than they could have imagined. He made a quick decision. "Set course back to the Galactic Council Station, maximum speed," he ordered. "We need to warn them about the Voidwalkers and share what we've learned about Ricky and the Beast." As the rescue ship turned and accelerated away from the vortex, Kraz couldn't shake the feeling that they were leaving behind more than just Ricky Burns. They were abandoning a key to understanding the cosmic forces now in motion. The hybrid entity's influence continued to spread, affecting dangerous creatures across the galaxy in unpredictable ways. On Earth, the network of deep-sea creatures expanded, its purpose still unknown. Kraz stood at the viewport, watching the stars streak by as they raced back to Council space. The fate of humanity and all alien species now hung in the balance, and he knew that the coming confrontation would test not just humanity's place in the cosmic order, but the very survival of all known species. As the rescue ship pushed its engines to the limit, Kraz couldn't help but wonder, were they racing towards salvation or hurtling headlong into an abyss from which there was no return? Return. As the rescue ship hurtled through space, Kraz's mind raced with the implications of what they had discovered. The hybrid entity's warning about the Voidwalkers echoed in his thoughts, a harbinger of a threat beyond their comprehension. The ship's communication array crackled to life, interrupting Kraz's brooding. Lieutenant Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression grim. "General, we're receiving urgent transmissions from Earth. The situation has escalated dramatically." Kraz leaned forward, his scales dripping with tension. "Report, Lieutenant." "Sir, the deep-sea creatures have expanded their network. It now encompasses entire ocean basins. Earth's government has postponed the diplomatic mission to the Council. They're redirecting all resources to contain and understand this phenomenon." Kraz's eyes narrowed. "Any theories on what's causing this?" Chen nodded, her image flickering slightly. "Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, believes the creatures are forming a planet-wide neural network. He described it as mimicking the structure of a giant brain." The implications of this development sent a shiver down Kraz's spine. Before he could respond, the ship's sensors blared an alert. The pilot's voice rang out over the intercom. "General, we're approaching the Council station, but, sir, you need to see this." The view screen shifted, revealing a staggering sight. A massive gathering of alien vessels surrounded the station, their hulls glinting in the light of nearby stars. "Scan those ships," Kraz ordered, his voice tight with tension. The science officer's fingers danced across her console. "Sir, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from many of the vessels. They appear to be transporting affected creatures from their homeworlds." As they maneuvered through the sea of ships, Kraz could feel the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. The fate of not just humanity, but countless species across the galaxy now hinged on the information they carried. The moment they docked, Kraz burst from the ship, his team close behind. They raced through the station's corridors, pushing past throngs of agitated aliens from dozens of worlds. The council chamber was a scene of nearly unleashed chaos. Representatives shouted over one another, their voices a cacophony of fear and anger. High Counselor Zaxthor stood at the center, trying in vain to maintain order. Kraz strode forward, his presence commanding immediate attention. High Counselor, I bring urgent news from our mission. As Kraz delivered his report, detailing the hybrid entity's warnings and the approaching Voidwalkers, a hush fell over the chamber. The silence was short-lived, quickly replaced by an eruption of panicked voices. We must mobilize our fleets, shouted a Draconi representative. No, we should attempt communication first, argued a Medusan counselor, her serpentine hair writhing with agitation. Zaxthor raised his hands, calling for silence. We need a coordinated response. I am establishing an emergency task force to handle this crisis. He turned to a Xylonian standing nearby. Zeb, you will lead the scientific efforts. We need to understand the connection between these events and the hybrid entity. As the council debated their next move, Kraz's communicator buzzed. Lieutenant Chen's voice came through, tight with urgency. General, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth. The deep-sea network has activated some kind of ancient technology in the Mariana Trench. It's broadcasting a signal into deep space. Kraz shared this information with the council, adding another layer of complexity to their already overwhelming situation. As the council grappled with this news, Zeb approached Kraz, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement. General, I've been analyzing the data from the hybrid entity. I believe I've made a breakthrough. Zeb's voice hummed with energy. The hybrid's influence isn't random. It appears to be organizing the dangerous creatures across the galaxy into a cohesive defensive network. Kraz's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. You think Ricky's consciousness is preparing for the Voidwalker's arrival? Before Zeb could respond, an alarm blared through the station. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a planet racked by geological disturbances. The Draconi homeworld, gasped a council member. Its core has become unstable. Kraz stared at the image, his mind racing. He turned to Zaxthor, his voice filled with urgency. High Counselor, I have a proposal. We need to return to the anomaly where the hybrid entity resides. If we can establish a stable link, we might be able to use its influence to stabilize the Draconi world and potentially defend against the Voidwalkers. Zaxthor considered for a moment, then nodded gravely. Assemble your team, General. We'll provide you with our foremost experts in xenobiology, physics, and communication. As Kraz began preparations for the mission, the station's long-range sensors detected a series of massive gravitational distortions approaching from the galactic rim. The ancient records confirmed what they all feared. The Voidwalkers were coming. With time running out, Kraz boarded his ship once more, now accompanied by a diverse team of the galaxy's brightest minds. As they disembarked from the station, the vastness of space seemed to press in around them, pregnant with the weight of impending doom. Kraz stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the stars ahead. They were racing not just to save the Draconi, but to secure the very future of life in the galaxy. And somewhere out there, trapped in a swirling vortex of metal and energy, the key to their salvation waited. A being born from the fusion of humanity's tenacity and the galaxy's most feared creature. The ship's engines flared, propelling them into the unknown, where the fate of all known species hung in the balance. Balance. The ship's engines strained against the increasing gravitational forces, pushing through a field of swirling debris as they approached the heart of the anomaly. General Kraz gripped the helm tightly, his scaled fingers dancing across the controls with practiced precision. The viewport filled with a mesmerizing display of energy, tendrils of light reaching out towards them like grasping fingers. Zeb's modifications are holding, reported the science officer, her voice tinged with a mixture of relief and awe. We're maintaining structural integrity. As they penetrated deeper into the vortex, the ship's communication array crackled to life. Dr. Marcus Chen's holographic image materialized on the bridge, his face etched with urgency. General Kraz, we've made a breakthrough, Chen announced, his words tumbling out in a rush. The ancient device in the Mariana Trench, it's not just broadcasting, it's responding to the hybrid entity's energy signature. Kraz's eyes narrowed. Explain, Doctor. The signal alignment is perfect, Chen continued, gesturing to unseen data. There's a connection here, something that predates our recorded history. Whatever this hybrid has become, it's awakening something long dormant on Earth. Before Kraz could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Tendrils of energy from the anomaly's core lashed out, enveloping the vessel in a cocoon of pulsating light. "Brace for impact!" Kraz shouted, but the expected destruction never came. Instead, a strange calm settled over the bridge. The crew members gasped in unison as their minds expanded, connecting to something vast and alien. In that moment, they heard a voice, familiar yet changed, human yet other. "Kraz, I can see you. I can see everything." The general's breath caught in his throat. "Ricky, is that you?" "Yes and no," the voice replied, echoing not just through the ship's speakers, but directly in their minds. "I am Ricky, but I am also the beast, and I am something more." Through the mental link, images flooded their consciousness. Ancient battles, stars being born and dying, and creatures of unimaginable power moving through the void between galaxies. "The Void Walkers," Ricky's voice continued, "they are not unknown to us. The beast's genetic memory holds the key. We are not just a weapon, Kraz. We are the last line of defense." Understanding dawned on the general's face. "The dangerous creatures across the galaxy?" "Yes," Ricky confirmed. "They are part of a vast living network, a weapon designed eons ago to repel the Void Walkers. But it has lain dormant, fragmented, until now." Zeb, the Xylonian scientist, stepped forward, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement. "We can use the ship's systems to amplify your signal," he said. "Broadcast the activation command across the galaxy." As Zeb interfaced with the ship's controls, Ricky's consciousness guided them. Energy surged through the vessel, transforming it into a beacon of awakening. Across the stars on countless worlds, the affected creatures responded. Draconi behemoths rose from magma seas, their movements suddenly precise and coordinated. Xyloxy hive minds pulsed with newfound purpose. On Earth, the oceanic network surged with power. Through their mental link, the crew witnessed the ancient device in the Mariana Trench stir. It rose from the abyssal depths, a massive organic construct joining with the sea creatures to form a planetary shield that stretched into the atmosphere. Alarms blared on the bridge as the sensors detected massive distortions at the galaxy's edge. The Void Walkers had arrived. "It's time." Ricky's voice resonated through their minds. "We stand together, or we fall alone." As one, the galaxy's defenders moved to meet the threat. The once feared creatures, now united under the hybrid's guidance, formed living weapons of unprecedented power. Kraz watched in awe as the view screen filled with images from across the galaxy. Void Walker ships, constructs of dark energy and unknown matter, clashed with the defenders in a battle that defied comprehension. On Earth, humanity looked to the skies in wonder as their hidden protectors rose from the oceans, repelling Voidwalker incursions with devastating efficiency. The hybrid entity, at the heart of it all, directed the defense with strategic brilliance. It was Ricky's human intellect combined with the beast's primal power and the collective knowledge of countless species. As the battle raged, Kraz felt the hybrid strength beginning to wane. The immense power channeled through it was taking its toll. "We can't maintain this forever," Ricky's voice warned, tinged with strain. "We need to end this now." Zeb's crystalline form pulsed with inspiration. "If we can disrupt their control over space-time, we might force them back through their own rifts." "Do it," Kraz ordered, his voice firm with drive. The hybrid channeled the combined power of all connected creatures into a massive energy wave. It rippled across the galaxy, distorting the very fabric of space-time. The Void Walkers' advance faltered. Their ships, caught in the wave, began to twist and warp. With a silent scream that reverberated through the mental link, they were forced back through the rifts they had created. As the last Void Walker ship disappeared, a new crisis emerged. The hybrid entity began to destabilize, the immense power threatening to tear it apart. "Ricky!" Kraz shouted, both aloud and through the mental link. "Hold on!" But Ricky's consciousness was already making a choice. In a final act of sacrifice, he directed the beast to release him. The human and alien entities began to separate, their unified form dissolving in a blaze of energy. The beast, using the last of its strength, sealed the rifts. The threat of the Void Walkers was contained, but at a tremendous cost. As the energy dissipated, Kraz spotted a human form floating amid the debris. "Get a tractor beam on him," he ordered. They pulled Ricky Burns aboard, his body reformed but forever changed by the experience. As the crew rushed him to the medical bay, Kraz looked out at the now quiet anomaly where the beast had been. The general's communicator chirped. It was High Counselor Zax Thor, his voice filled with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "General Kraz, report to the Galactic Council immediately. We have much to discuss." As Kraz acknowledged the order, he knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The rescue mission had turned into something far greater, the salvation of all known life, and somehow, at the center of it all, was a human who had once stood trembling before the Council. The ship turned, setting a course back to the Council station. But Kraz knew this was not an end. It was a beginning of a new era, of new understandings, and of challenges yet to come.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.